introductions, and we'll start. We still have a few people joining, some reason, Vladimir, you're on the center stage, but that should go away, I'm assuming. Okay, so as people are coming in, I just want to welcome you all to New Perspectives, Transformation of the Body, which is a series intended to help us better understand the fundamentals of integral yoga and its approach to the evolution of consciousness and the future of material manifestation. This Transformation of the Body series is something that we launched at the beginning of this year and plan to continue throughout the end of the year. Before introducing our guests, if we could please just take a moment of silence, please. Thank you. And Vladimir, for some reason, you're looking like I pinned you or something to just you is showing up on my screen here. I'm not sure why. I'm going to go into gallery view.
Yeah, from gallery view, you can change.
Okay. So again, welcome to New Perspectives. As most of you know, this is a program that's being hosted by Auro University in Surat, India, and the Sri Aurobindo Integral Life Centers that are in Surat and one here in Fountain Inn, South Carolina. And I'm Rade, the director of the center here in Fountain Inn, and joined by Dr. Vladimir Yatsenko, who is the director of our research institute. So we are very pleased and honored to have for the first time our guest speaker today, Matthew Andrews. I had the great pleasure of meeting Matthew back in 2018 at the OM conference here in the US. And for those of you that have met him in person, you immediately recognize his love and devotion to the mother and Sri Aurobindo that radiates throughout his being. And his commitment to the integral yoga path is truly non-wavering. So he's just a wonderful and beautiful soul and person to meet. And again, we're just very honored to have him here today. Matthew is co-director of the Shraddha Yoga uh, studio in Boston, and he is board president of Auroville International USA. He has been a student of yoga philosophy in the light of Sri Aurobindo and the mother for over 20 years, and he teaches yoga philosophy in yoga teacher training programs. He has also organized and hosted retreats in Auroville and at the Madhuban Sri Aurobindo Ashram. Matthew expresses his devotion and love for the divine through music that weaves Western folk traditions with Sanskrit and Tamil mantras. So in today's session, Matthew will offer a meditation and a discussion intended to help us discover the innate flame of aspiration that the divine has lovely planted within each of us. He will share his experience and wisdom on how we might nurture that flame, providing it space to grow within the framework of our daily life. There will be time, as always, towards the end for any questions that you might have for Matthew. So at any time, there is a Q&A box at the bottom of your screen, and just click and put your question in there. So without further ado, Matthew, again, welcome. Such an honor to have you here, and would love to turn it over to you now.
Thanks, Radhe. And Vanakkam, Namaskar. Hello, everyone who's joining today. I feel a lot of joy about talking to you all about the heart's aspiration, and specifically this word embodying the heart's aspiration. You know, there's one thing to think about something, there's one thing to understand it on an intellectual level as a concept, and there's another thing to embody, to bring it into life, to give it space within our moving around and interacting in relationships and conversations, and in the body itself, you know, the physical form that we are implanted in. You may be familiar with the first words, the first verse of the Rig Veda, Agni mi ile Purohitam. Agni mi ile, just that first word, I adore the flame. I adore Agni, I adore the fire. Now what fire are the rishis talking about? I adore the flame, Purohitam Yagyasya, the flame that is the priest of the sacrifice, the intermediary between the human and the divine. This flame, this Agni, is implanted inside you. You know, I can say all people, but there's something direct about saying, you know, you, yourself, this flame is in you. It's not an externalized thing. It's not floating around out there. It lives inside your heart right now, all the time. It's always burning. It's unextinguishable, inextinguishable. And it is the flame of aspiration that fuels this whole journey of evolution that we are a part of, that this collective journey of self-realization, collective realization, the awakening of the earth, the transformation of humanity, all these big concepts, right? The flame is the fuel for all of that. And it lives inside each individual person, and it burns with its own unique qualities, its own unique scent, its own unique way of being. So inside you, this flame of aspiration that burns always up. If you notice a candle flame, right? You can't turn it upside down. You can't make it burn down. It burns always up. The word aspiration comes from the Latin aspiritus, to the spirit. So the flame of aspiration burns always toward the spirit. And the word spirit, the Latin word spirit, is the same root as the word breath. So this spirit, this breath of the divine, this breath of holiness that lives within each of us and that pervades the universe and that is the universe, the flame of aspiration burns always towards it, and it never goes out. No matter what happens, no matter what difficulties we're involved with, no matter who we're fighting with, no matter what we're disappointed about, that flame is always burning. And it gets covered over, and it gets, sorry, I'm just trying to, there we go. It gets covered over, we get distracted. Our attention goes in different directions, fixes on different things. I may be attending to something outside myself, some conversation, some work that I'm doing. The flame is always burning. It's like breath. When I'm not paying attention to my breath, I'm still breathing. If I pay attention to my breath, then I can affect the way that I'm breathing, the depth versus the shallowness, the fluidity, the presentness to my breath can have a positive, or I can inhibit my breath intentionally. And there are, in my body, in my breath, there are inhibitions that kind of build up. You know, if I sit like this for a long time, my lungs are going to get a little bit inhibited. If I have a virus, if I have, there can be muscular or structural inhibitions, there can be temporary kind of bacterial or viral inhibition. So the breath can move freely and it can be inhibited. The same is true for aspiration. That flame of aspiration is always burning. It's always there. It never goes out. It never, but it can be inhibited. It can be blocked by the karmic architecture of our lives, the sanskaras that we bring into this existence, that we are born with, that are here to be worked out. These may manifest in beliefs about reality. They may manifest in what we expect to be possible, our fears, our clinging, our craving, our resentments. All of this can inhibit the way, the radiance, the tejas with which this flame can shine in our lives and in our bodies. Now, the heart is the central place where this flame lives. But every cell in your body, every cell, billions of cells, they all have a heart. And in the heart of every cell is the flame of aspiration. So we can experience this kind of concentrated flame in our spiritual heart, which we can feel here in the center of our chest. And we can also feel the diffuse flame of aspiration in the entire body. Every cell aspires. Every cell longs to be free, to be awakened, to realize itself, to be divinized. And the call of aspiration that goes out, the Agni, in that first verse of the Rig Veda, Agnimi ile porohitam yagyasya devam ritvijam hotaram. So Agni is called the Hotar, the one who calls, the one who cries out, the one who pleads with the divine, the one who vocalizes our deepest inner longing to know ourselves and to know the divine. That call is never not answered. Never. It's not possible. The universe is constructed in a way that every call from the depth of our being is answered. It's like Krishna and Radha. Radha calls to Krishna. Radha loves Krishna. Radha worships Krishna. But Krishna also is drawn to Radha. Krishna cannot turn away from her beauty. Radha's call brings Krishna. And it's the same on the individual level, the calling of our deepest heart. Again, whether it's conscious or not, there's two things happening. There's the unconscious, constant magnetism, burning of aspiration, reaching up, that is transforming us all the time, that is burning our samskaras, that is awakening us progressively and calling the divine towards us all the time. And then there is the conscious intentional, when we join our awareness, our intentionality with that aspiration, and we call out, it becomes empowered, it becomes strengthened, and the circumstances of our life will change, and our embodiment will change. The cells of our body, when we go in intentionally to our body and say, yes, this aspiration is good. This aspiration deserves space. This aspiration deserves intentionality and attention. Then it's empowered, it grows, and the body becomes more light-filled, more radiant. This flame of aspiration, this Agni that lives inside of us, on the level of the human, on the level in Bhuloka, on the level of the earth plane, it manifests as Agni. On the level of Swar, in the heavens, it manifests as Surya, highest light, Surya Savitri. And Sri Aurobindo says, Tat Savitur Varam Rupam, this most auspicious, most beautiful, most incredible form of Savitri. Tat Savitur Varam Rupam Jyotir Parasya, the light of the highest, most radiant light in the universe. It's the same light. It manifests as Surya Savitri there in the cosmos, and it manifests as Agni inside of us, but it's the same Jyotir Parasya, the light of the highest, most radiant light. And we meditate on that light. We focus our attention on that light. Intentionality, dhimahi. We draw all of our awareness and bring it to a point on that light. Why? Yanna satyena dipayat, so that we can be illuminated by truth, because that light is truth, that Agni is truth, that aspiration of our deepest being to realize itself, to know the divine, is truth. It's the deepest truth, it's the highest light, and it lives inside of us all the time, just shining, seeking to manifest itself, seeking to be present in our lives, seeking to make itself known, seeking to transform us. It's not like just that. It's always there, and it has an intentionality, and that intentionality is to shine through us through our unique individuality into the world. This light of aspiration, this flame of aspiration burning inside of us right now, like the breath, constant, pervasive. The breath sustains life. The flame of aspiration sustains evolution. It sustains our growth. And it manifests in us when it's blocked, when it's inhibited. It manifests in us in different ways. It might manifest as dissatisfaction. It's kind of distorted through the lens of our limited awareness because we live in this Maya. We live in this confused state. We've incarnated here into this realm of duality where everything is backwards and upside down. We're an infinite spirit enclosed in the limitations of a painful, limited body, a mind that doesn't really understand what it is or why it's here. We're in this limitation. And as that flame of aspiration, that natural, organic, pure flame of aspiration passes through our limited awareness, it's distorted into dissatisfaction, frustration, impatience, shame, desire. Also, it lives in a more pure state just as curiosity, just as interest, like wanting to know something, being interested in a certain field of study. These are ways that this flame manifests naturally inside of us. So the innocent desire to know anything, the joy of learning itself, and looking at our lives and saying, man, I wish it wasn't like this. I wish that I wasn't so limited. I wish that, these relationships were more clear and loving. I'm frustrated with the limitations of my life. I'm disappointed in myself. I'm disappointed in someone else. I blame someone else. I'm frustrated with them. I wish that my job was different. I wish that I had more freedom, more room to breathe. This is the divine flame within us seeking expansiveness, seeking room to express itself. And it's pressing up against all the limitations of our life and saying, oh, this feels very small. This feels very tight. I feel very closed in. I don't like it in here. I wish that I could express myself more. I wish I could bring more of myself into the world. It's very closed. That interface, that's our life experience from moment to moment, is what that interface is between this flame and the structures of our life. And we have the capacity at any time to look at the structures of our life, not to tear them down, to try to break through them, because force is always adversarial. And I can talk about this on an individual level, and I can talk about it on a collective level. Force is always adversarial. It's me against you. It's this against that, us against them. I have to break something. I have to destroy something. I have to move through something. Light is not adversarial. Light just burns. It just shines. It just radiates. It doesn't need to break anything. And it's strengthened by its own radiance, by its own manifestation. When we attend to it, when we nurture it, when we allow it, it's strengthened by its own presence. It's not strengthened by adversarial relationship. And yet the karmic architecture of our life is there. And so the light shines against it. It interfaces with it. And there's a choice point there. How do we relate to that point of interface where the light touches that which is not light, that which is obscuring the light in us, in the world around us, in our lives, that which would limit the light, that which would block it, when the light touches that, how do we react to that? Do we focus on trying to tear down, on trying to destroy, or do we focus on the light itself and know that through its strength, it will gently wear away anything that stands in its way? It will dissolve, it will melt the wax museum of our life, the wax figures in the wax museum of our life. that impose themselves and say, I am real, I am important, I am more important than anything else. You know, our fears about what's going to happen to us, our concerns about finances, our concerns about, you know, the mechanics of our life and our relationships, and whether we're going to be loved enough and appreciated enough and have enough resources and have enough nourishment. These wax figures that say we are the most important thing right now. If we focus on the light of our being and we strengthen the light of our being, that light will radiate out and melt the wax figures. And this is true collectively in any collective situation as well. We can focus on adversary. We can focus on trying to force someone else to do something, trying to force a group to behave in a way that is more in alignment with what we think they should be doing. We can focus on trying to control life around us, or we can focus on embodying light, embodying aspiration, embodying the radiance of our being.
I'm having trouble hearing. Can you hear, Vladimir?
Yes, I
Okay,
can.
must just be on my side. Sorry,
Yes.
Matthew, go ahead.
No problem. No problem. This choice about how to relate to the world around us, the choice of the past has always been to try to be in control and to try to force life into the shape that we believe it should be. We have a choice, and we are, through the grace of our aspiration, which reaches up and calls down the rain of divine grace, we have a choice to evolve into a different way of being that isn't about adversarial relationships, it isn't about force, it isn't about control, but it's about embodying, cultivating, nourishing the light of our deeper being and giving it space to move within our lives. It's about being and being the light that we are in the world, in our relationships, allowing it space to move, because each of us is that. What we normally experience ourselves as, our personality self, our beliefs about reality, our preferences, our desires, our our thoughts, you know, what is real and what's not real, what do I believe, what sports teams do I like, what political party do I like, how should life be, you know, the things that I normally think of as me, the clothes that I wear, the clothes that I like to wear, the kind of people I resonate with, the kind of music I like, all these things, they're prisms. And some of the prisms are dusty and dark, and some of the prisms are more clear, but they're prisms of our uniqueness, and the light wants to shine through those prisms out into the world. And that is transformative, and we often don't trust in the transformative power of that divine radiance within us. We think, I have to do something, I have to control something, I have to fix something. We don't trust that if the divine, if we invite the divine in, if we cultivate our aspiration, if we invite the divine grace to embody within us and focus our attention on that and intention on that, then our lives, individually, collectively, the world around us will be transformed. That this is the divinization of the earth. And in the midst of all the chaos and all the intensity of this moment, when so much undivine reality is around us, churning, imposing itself, so much falsehood, so much, so much.
Sorry,
Um,
we're getting some chats here that other people are, are wanting to. They're very engrossed and inspired, but it's just a little soft on your end. So just a little bit louder would be great. I keep interrupting. I won't do it again, Matthew. Sorry.
No problem. No problem at all. And it is important to me that everyone can hear. So I'm glad people are speaking up and not just ignoring the problem. Ah, let's shift. Let's shift from me talking to you to sitting together and going into a more internal space. So If you're comfortable with closing your eyes, go ahead and do that. If you would rather have your eyes slightly open, my invitation is just to soften the intention to see, right? So the eyes become softer, indrawn. It's a gentle pratyahara, a gentle drawing in of the normal inclination to go out. And feel your breath. Focus your awareness on the feeling of breathing. Take a deeper than usual breath. Allow your lungs to expand. And feel your lung, the organs of lung inside your chest pressing against the inner walls of your ribs. Your lungs are wrapped in their own skin. So there's a thick skin of your lungs, and then there's the softer lung tissue on the inside. Feel the breath come in and fill and expand in your lungs. And as your lungs expand, they press in on your heart. Your heart is cradled there in between your two lungs. So you're bringing your attention into your physical body, lungs and heart resting there in your chest. And inside your heart, again, the heart has 3 layers of pericardium, 3 different layers of different density. The most dense and thick and is strongest, we could say, is on the outside, and then it's softer on the inside. The muscle of the heart beating, pulsing blood throughout your system. And inside there, in that space, is a flame. I'm not talking about a physical fire, a spiritual flame. It's no less real because it's not physical. The physical heart emerges from the spiritual heart. It's a manifestation of the spiritual heart. The physical heart is the secondary, the spiritual heart is primary, and the spiritual heart contains this flame, light, bright, reaching upward, seeking the divine, seeking yourself, your deepest self, your truest self, your unencumbered, free, powerful, universal self. And that self, that container of individuation that is you, is joined with the whole cosmos. So your physical lungs breathe into and cradle your physical heart. The spiritual breath, the radiance of the breath in you breathes into your spiritual heart. Let the 2 dimensions of breath, physical breath and spiritual breath, be one. And the breath, air, nourishes the flame, the desire to know, the longing to be, the longing to express. Look for it. Feel for it. Let go of any distractions and focus your attention on your breath feeding the flame of aspiration inside you. For some of you, it may be easy to feel. It may be easy to feel the radiance of this flame inside of you. It may be easy to see it. For some of you, you may feel nothing. But the intention to see, the attempt, is powerful. So even if you feel absolutely nothing, desiring to see, intending to see is an act. We have to develop sensitivity sometimes. Sometimes sensitivity in a certain area of our life in a certain way comes easy. Sometimes it's more difficult. And for the heart, some of us have not spent much time paying attention to the heart. So it can be challenging, but intending will build sensitivity. You will touch this flame if you look for it, even if it takes time, because it's there. Every person in the world, your beloveds, your friends, your co-travelers, your enemies, they all carry this flame. We all carry these flames together, and these flames are burning upward toward the oneness that we all are. When you light a candle from another candle, nothing is lost. The other candle doesn't go out, it doesn't lose anything. This is what we are. We are all candles burning, flames burning, with the same flame, lit from the same source. All of our differences are superficial and beautiful. To know yourself is to know that. To know the divine is to know that. That we are all lit from the same source, and all of our differences are the surface, but they're beautiful. This diversity with which the divine has created this world is beautiful. And for these last few moments of sitting together, just bring your awareness to that flame or to the intention to feel or see or know that flame. Feel your physical breath and let your breath nourish the flame. Can you recognize that flame, the experience of that flame, not just in your heart, but in every cell of your body, pervasive? Let your breath flow throughout your whole body, nourishing the flames in the hearts of your cells. Om Tat Savitor Varam Rupam. O most auspicious and beautiful form of Savitri. Jyoti Parasya Dhimahi. We meditate on the highest light that you are. O Savitri, most auspicious, most beautiful. You are the highest light, and we fix our attention on you. Please illuminate us with truth. Allow the light of truth, the light of reality, Satyena, the light of being, the light that is, the light of creation. Illuminate us. Light us up. Om Tat Savitur Varamarupam Jyoti Parasya Dhimahi Yanna Satyena Deepaye. I am the flame of aspiration that fuels evolution. I am the flame of aspiration that reaches toward what shall be. These are words you can affirm to yourself. I am the flame of aspiration that reaches toward what shall be and draws it near. I am the flame of aspiration that reaches toward what shall be and draws it near. I am the flame of aspiration that seeks its source in the Divine Beloved. And just taking a few more nourishing breaths over the next minute or two, gradually, when you're ready, allow your eyes to open, returning to a outward orientation. And I know there's the limitation of the interface where you have to type in order to ask a question or to share something. But I would love to hear from you. If you have a question, if you have a reflection, if you have anything that you'd like to share, you can type it in the chat or in the Q&A or wherever you like. I think maybe Radhe, it's better if it goes in the Q&A.
Yeah. In fact, what we'll do, I like your suggestion to be able to hear and see people as they share. We would love to open it up for sharing of your experience of this wonderful guided meditation that has been offered by Matthew. And there is the ability to raise your hand. And so if you raise your hand, we'll bring you over as a panelist, and you can turn on your video and your sound and share with us. We would really appreciate that. And I know, Matthew, that that was just a wonderful and inspiring talk and guided meditation. From my perspective, it's so interesting because throughout it, this warmth from the heart region just kept growing and growing and growing, and it was as if all kind of the energy that was scattered around me kind of found its place and purpose in the heart region and was actually creating warmth, was creating heat. So that was truly a wonderful experience on my part. And I also just loved the fact that you've brought in this flame within each cell, right? Which is the work really, as I understand it, is the work the mother was doing in this transformation of the body, is igniting that flame within each and every cell, and that experience of each cell dancing in ecstasy within itself and with others. Very, very beautiful. I've never really focused on that flame within in the cell. So a new experience for me. We do have somebody rising their hand. And Vladimir, if you wanted to comment, but I'm going to otherwise bring over, it looks like Radha.
Let me just, before you do that, I just want to respond quickly to what you just said, because I'm glad you mentioned the mother's work in her body. You know, there's thousands of years of yogic texts and yogic teachings and practices and, you know, from all the different traditions, Vedanta, yoga, tantra, different ways of approaching and cultivating our spiritual life and our relationship to the divine. What the mother did and what she said was that her work was not in her body in an isolated way. She changed reality. She changed reality so that we can experience more. She suffered greatly so that we have a deeper, a greater, a wider capacity as embodied humans now to experience our own divinity and experience the flame within us than we did 100 years ago or 200 years ago or 500 years ago. The world is different. We are different. And we're not even talking about the supramental descent, which is a whole different thing. The mother's work in her body transformed the body of the earth and our collective body. And so I feel like the best way to honor that is to experience, you know, to take it seriously. She did this for us. She did this for us. And so, wow, what I can feel as an embodied person now is different than it was before. And I'm grateful for that. And I honor that, and I take the time to be with that. So thank you for bringing that up. Yeah,
So
appreciate
we
it.
have two hands. Radha, I'm trying to bring you, you should be able to see, bring over Radha and Rashi. You should be able to, both of you get a little notice to be accepted as, there they come. And then you can just turn on your audio and your camera. We can see you, Radha, and there's Rashi. So Radha, I saw your hand up first. Do you want to share a few things, or if you have a question
Oh,
for Matthew?
it's actually James, because Radha and James are here
Ah,
together.
okay.
And
Great, James.
Matthew, I just want to thank you for, from the trite point of view, first of all, for an amazing start to my weekend. Just listening to you and seeing you with the tranquil, deciduous trees in the background reminds me of the Sadhana forest, actually. But just listening to you helped me so much to just realize that the key to moving forward in what may be an interesting week will be just to realize that the external pieces are, as you say, the prisms and the artificial boundaries that are keeping that eternal individual manifestation of that fire inside me from being able to do its thing, as it were. So what I'm going to be looking forward to going through this week is to looking to see how I can crack those prisms, move them out of the way so that some more of that light can get through and help permeate the endless tasks I'm going to have to perform this week. And hopefully I can maintain this going forward, because it was a real eye-opener for me to listen to the way you presented this. Thank you so much.
It's so nice to see you, James. It's been a long time.
I know.
I didn't expect, when I saw Radha's name, I didn't expect you, but I'm so happy that it is you. And nice to see you too, Radha. And I appreciate your reminder, James, that this is not some esoteric mumbo jumbo. This is, this is the interface with real life.
Right.
Real lives to live here. And everything that I said is absolutely applicable and intended to inform, permeate your real life.
Thank you so much for presenting it in a way that was accessible in that way, because I think you presented a very practical guide down the path.
Thank you. Thank you. Rashi, do you want to say a few words?
First, I want to express my gratitude. Again, like how James said, of the serene, tranquil, soft, gentle, the atmosphere. And since morning, I have a lot of classes, a lot of things, but I didn't want to go anywhere. And I don't know why I was here till I heard the sentence about really embodying the aspiration, because I was struggling because I want to do 9 things and I have aspiration for all 9. So I was like, wait, now body has to tell me. And then I wanted to share, because it was very funny. For the first time, I could see my lungs and, the alveoli and all of that. But as I went deeper into the tissues of the lungs, it became like little curled, like a huge beard, like, like of a Santa Claus. But it was gray and brown like that. And then I'm like, oh my God. So lungs is Santa Claus, which represents for me joy and love and like gift. And then I was like, oh my God, what is he doing, saying, and what am I doing? Where is the flame? And all of them. When I went into that, I saw a huge forest, and the center of it, I saw this again, an old man with a very big and large, dense beard, the curly little alveoli-like kind beard. And then he wasn't old enough to be, he didn't have that, he wasn't Santa Claus. And then I said, okay, is this my like future partner? He's coming in my heart and my flame and all of that. Like he wasn't that. And then I just silenced myself, and I'm like, he's talking about flame and in the heart, and I'm supposed to be inside, and where am I? And then it's gradually revealed to me that forest in the middle of it, that silent, beautiful space, he was playing a musical instrument, a wind instrument. And then as I went deeper into it, I realized that he was the breath of Mother Earth. And that is what it was. And then the minute I felt that, it wasn't a realization, wasn't a mental recognition, it was just a recognition, like it was something, I don't know. And then I went into somewhere only right now when Radhe's voice came, I realized, okay, so I didn't hear the rest of it, but I don't know, I'm deeply moved, and I can, it's like the breath of earth is still pulsating in my skin, in my heart, in my, and when I heard, when I started to actually hear here is when she was talking about mother's work, and you were talking about mother's work, and I felt like a gentle smile of hers. So I don't know what to say. I'm just grateful. I'm just super excited and calm at the same time. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you for saying those words, the breath of the earth, the breath of Mother Earth. Mother Earth is breathing, and often we take it for granted that she's breathing. And it's beautiful that you brought that. So thank you.
I would just like to add to Rashi has offered some just amazing guided meditations herself to our community, and very inspiring, and include music, vision, art. So it's good to see you, Rashi. I'm so glad. I know you're in India, so it's a little late there, but lovely to see you, and thank you for sharing. Nidhi, did you want to say a few words?
Thank you, Radhi. Thank you, Andrew. Amazing, profound experience. What I want to share was I earlier started doing like meditation and going deeper in my heart. I would say just a couple months ago, more often. But always, this was the first time, like, okay, so what I used to feel before was like the tears would start flowing when I tried to go in. Today was the first time I didn't feel any of that. I was very peaceful, calm, like I felt like a cool mint breeze and lot of peace and love inside, and no tears. I was surprised because when I was trying to do it by myself, so I don't know the reason why and what happened even before and today. What was the difference? Like I don't want to mentally think about it, but thank you so much. Like amazing experience. Thank you. But if you can answer, like if you're
because the tears can be all sorts of different things, but they're a layer of reality that's important for me to contact and important for me to move through. And why something is different now, I don't know definitely, but I can say that when I'm talking, I'm saying words, right? I'm saying English words, I'm saying sentences, I'm painting ideas, but more importantly than all of that is I'm transmitting something through my voice to you. I'm transmitting something from inside my own experience. And so it sounds like whatever that was that is coming through was something different, and it allowed for a different kind of experience. So I'm happy for that. And I also would just encourage you not to judge that the tears are bad or wrong, or that, of course, it's nice to feel peace and joy and upliftment. But that's what I have to say.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for guiding and even transmitting peace through your voice, even though we are far apart. But yeah, over this platform. Thank you. Because I was thinking maybe it's my emotional being I have to go through, and today I thought maybe I've gone through. So I'm not judging, but yeah, thank you so much for everything. Yeah.
Yes, it's possible, and I think often when we encounter, especially intense tears, the tendency is to avoid them because we think they'll never end. But they always end, and then something else happens, and then maybe there's another layer to go through. because this is evolution. This
Right.
is what we know. We're always changing. We can't avoid it. Nothing's static. So yes.
Thank you once again for everyone and for you especially.
Thank you, Needy. I'm just going to put you back over as attendee and just open. I don't see any other hands. Vladimir, any comments or sharing you'd like to do? Or
Oh, thank you for this treat. And of course, I was thinking how the world has changed, and this we are sitting in different continents, in different places, and through this electrical signal, and we are all connected, and it's kind of a collective yajna, when we come together in aspiration towards higher light, a higher realization, and even marking that up with words, calm voice, is actually pointing us towards that way of living, and it makes it real, makes it possible. Otherwise, our mind is preoccupied with other things, and we are drawn, and you see the calamity in the world which is trying to prevent us from moving in that direction. So, in spite of the calamities and turmoils, we must focus ourselves on this direction. So, thank you very much for reminding us and collecting us, bringing us together for this purpose of becoming higher beings, what we are meant to be.
Sri Aurobindo, of course, says that it's during these moments of maximum intensity, when everything looks like it's just falling apart and falsehood is everywhere, that the most movement can happen, the most evolution can happen, the greatest possibility is there. And so we are living in a difficult and painful time, and also a privileged time, because a great light is emerging on the earth. It's largely invisible right now, but if you look inside yourself, maybe you can see it. And there's so much that's possible now, so much that's possible as everything looks like it's falling apart. And that aspiration can be like an anchor, an anchor in the storm.
thank you. Thank you, Matthew, so much. And the other thing I would just like to comment on that meditation, which was very helpful, was that connection, which was mentioned also by a couple others, between the breath and the breath flaming that flame within. And so now, whenever I become aware of my breath, it's automatically centering me and anchoring me to that fire within. I have just never quite envisioned that before, and and now it becomes so easy at any moment in time. You become aware of the breath, you're aware of that flame growing within. So it's a wonderful technology, technique, visual for me. So thank you so very much again, Matthew. We hope to be doing more with you in the future, and we thank you so much. For everybody else here that would like to have a recording of this session and go back through that meditation, we'll be posting it on our website, but it's also on our Facebook. So thank you all again, and namaste.